Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast, special edition. Today we're talking holiday shopping, and I know some of you are going out there this holiday season shopping for loved ones, friends, whatever, who may be golfers. Maybe you're putting a list together for someone who wants to buy you something, and there's so many options, so many different price points. It's like overwhelming every year. I know that every year I kind of put something together, and most of the stuff I get ripped for because it's too expensive. I always usually go for the crazy, wild stuff you've never seen. But like I said, got a special episode today talking about holiday stuff. Rodney Chamblee from the PGA TOUR Superstore joins me, talking about some of the items they're selling, what they're seeing at retail, and also giving you some ideas of things that you may not have thought about, in terms of buying either yourself a gift, someone you know who's a golfer, a gift for them, or putting a list together for people to buy you a gift. So really fun. Rodney's an awesome guy, super nice. So a great episode, and yeah, take a listen, maybe take some notes, start putting your list together, make your mom happy. And we're getting too close to holiday. It's crazy how fast it's going to be here. I can't believe it's already the middle of November. And, these things are going to start coming up. You better start getting ready because it's going to be here before you know it. So anyway, enjoy the show. Like I said, Rodney's an awesome guy. We have a great conversation. So have fun. And, if you're, no matter where you're listening to it, please subscribe, follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod. If you're watching this on YouTube, search Golf WRX Radio. Please subscribe, whatever you have to do. But all those algorithms always help us out. So again, have fun, and we'll talk to you probably later this week and probably next week. So have a good one. We'll talk to you later. All right, everybody, we are back, and like I said in the intro, special guest, and I don't frequently have a lot of guests on my show, but we're getting into holiday season, and we always get into the holiday stuff, and I tend to get kind of a little bit ridiculed because when I put together holiday lists, I tend to go on the extreme expensive side, just because that's the gear I tend to hunt down. But today, a special guest, we got Rodney Chamblee from PGA Superstore. Rodney, thank you for joining me. It's great to have you on. You and I have talked earlier this week, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. So I'm excited to kind of sit down here and talk about some holiday, some fitting stuff, some gear stuff. I'm excited just to have some fun talking about golf, because that's what I love doing.
Yeah, it's good to be with you, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, it's great. While we get started here, give a little bit. I would love to hear a little bit of history. How did you, how did your kind of golf path kind of end up at PGA Superstore? Kind of where did it kind of start? It doesn't have to be a whole life story starting from year 5 or anything. But what was kind of your path to get into PGA Superstore?
Yeah, well, I'll say this to start. Golf in the sporting goods world is a small industry, so a lot of it's based on who you know. And I've been at this most of my career in and out of the golf industry and or the sporting goods industry. So made a lot of great friendships and relationships along the way. And about 4 years ago, one of my good friends in the industry reached out to me, and there was an opportunity to come and join the team. And it kind of hit me at the right time of my life. And I'm very passionate about this game. I love it, like I'm sure all of your listeners do. And it just kind of worked out. And I've been in sporting goods or golf, 30 plus years now at this point. And just coming up on my 4th year now with PGA TOUR Superstore.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny because you're right. I mean, it is such a small world, and I've recently talked to a few people, and the PGA show, in January has kind of come up as a topic because it's kind of coming back, and it's so funny that you go there and it's like the best quote I ever heard was somebody, and he said, "The golf industry is just guys who change hats." You're always in the golf industry. You may just change your hat. The logo on the hat may be just a little different, but it is a small world. But it's kind of cool because you always get to see, people that you kind of consider friends. You meet somebody and it's like they never kind of go away. They may, like I said, switch hats. They may have a different logo on there, but they're always pretty much in the industry, which is pretty cool.
Well, it gets into your blood too.
Yeah.
And when you have passion for something. It makes getting up every day and doing your job that much easier. I've heard people say that throughout my life, and it's so true. I mean, I feel so blessed to be able to be involved in this industry because it's a game that I love, and real thankful to be part of it for sure.
I agree with you. I'm extremely fortunate as well. I've been with Golf WRX 6 years, or probably 6 years. I think beginning of the month. But yeah, it's one of those things when you work in, like you said, a passion, and you work in that. It's never as you never have the bad days are never as bad as they could be, and the good days are always great and all that. So it's a great time. So
yeah, whenever I talk to my team that I work with, I'm like, how blessed are we that we get to sell hope and fun every day? People come to us to escape, from some of the pressures of life, and to hopefully enjoy something that helps them to do that. So I'm glad we get to provide that opportunity for people.
For sure. And you guys must be getting crazy busy. I mean, it's basically the middle of November already, which is shocking. I don't know if it's just as you get older, things just go by so crazy fast, but it's already the middle of November. Holiday stuff is on kind of in every store already. It seems like wherever you go, there's some type of Christmas tree or Christmas lights or some type of holiday decorations up. But people are starting to think about, what they're going to be getting people for the holidays. And, a lot of us golfers have golfers who are brothers or uncles or parents or whatever. And, not only do we want to receive golf items as gifts, but we also want to give a lot if we have those people in our life, and we typically do. So you guys must be, like I said, just getting kind of really ramped up for this is going to be a real busy time starting up here real soon, right? I mean, you guys, like most retail, probably go. I mean, this is kind of the time. This is like the Super Bowl time for you guys all year, right?
Absolutely true. Yep. It seems like once everybody gets past Halloween, they really start to think about the holidays in general, and Thanksgiving, and on into the gift giving time of the year. And as you said, there's a lot of people who play golf who like to gift golf. We also see a lot of people who do not play golf coming into our stores at this time of the year to buy something for a loved one who cares a lot about golf.
Yep.
So, part of our job in our stores is to hopefully curate an experience not only for our everyday, player who comes in, tried and true customer, but also for these gift givers who are coming in, typically once, twice a year to give the gift of golf to someone they love.
And it's not always an easy job. I worked in a small shop back when I got back into golf back in the really early 2000s. And you got a lot of people who came in and said, hey, my husband, brother, son, whoever, daughter, aunt is a big golfer. What should I get? And if they're not into golf, it sometimes can be a little interview session of what you maybe could recommend. But I think, with Golf WRX, our audience has always been, equipment. I mean, we kind of span everything, but, we're a gear, clubs, bags, whatever. I mean, all the stuff that goes along with the game is typically a lot of what we love. And clubs are always an amazing gift. And, understandably, it's not necessarily every single person's budget, and we totally get that. But I think one of the items, if you're looking to really, wow somebody this year, clubs are tough to beat. And I think one of the top ones is got to be, Titleist TSR. Woods, they've been super hot ever since they launched. We've got 3 models at the moment. So you've got your TSR2, TSR3, TSR4 even. But what do you guys see from your side, from the retail side, in terms of TSR? From the launch, which was kind of middle of summer to end of summer, to now. That's a club that's been extremely popular. It seems like with a lot of golfers.
For sure. Titleist definitely has a loyal following, as most of these major equipment vendors do. The thing that I've always, before I really got deeply involved in the business and everything, I always assumed that Titleist was just a premier players golf club. You think about Justin Thomas, you think about Jordan Spieth, and all the touring pros. And, I think a lot of that just has to do with how Titleist positions themselves in the marketplace. I've been pleasantly surprised to find out that, a lot of the products they design are not only for the tip of the sphere type of a player, the one handicap type player, but they make products for, for people who don't have those really low handicaps. I personally play to an 11 or a 12, and I use the TSR 2. And boy, I just really love how that that product feels. I love the shape that I get off of the tee with it. And, when people come into our store to get fit, we've got a lot of good options in that golf club alone, based upon, the type of player they are.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge thing, because I think a lot of people, back, not too long ago, if you were looking at a Titleist club, for the most part, you were probably not of the higher handicap side. And I'm with you. I'm like right around a 9. I fluctuate a little bit between the year, but I've been a big fan of the TSR2. But I played it. I hit the TSR3. I hit the 4. 4 definitely wasn't for me. A little too low spin. But like you said, the range of golfer now that the TSR can kind of fit into is anybody from, a scratch or better competitive, professional player, all the way up to, the higher handicaps now, because of what they offer and what they've designed into these clubs now. It's not just great shape, work the ball. They've got a lot of forgiveness in these TSR2s and stuff like that. And like you said, the fitting side of it, you're probably seeing a wide range of players fit into not only 2, but even 3 a little bit. 3 tends to be a little more forgiving than I think people give it credit for.
Yeah, and the thing of it is when somebody comes into the store, if they express an interest in it, we're gonna let them try it in the studio and in the simulators to get a feel for it. We're not really motivated to sell one thing over another. We really try to be, as I've told you before, brand agnostic. And if the numbers bear out that this is the right club for them, then that's what we're going to sell them. We're really trying to ultimately help people enjoy the game of golf more and to play the best that they can. And if any of the TSR products are the right club for them, then that's great. That's what we'll sell them.
Yeah, and it'd be hard to, like you said, when you go to a fitting, it wouldn't be shocking to see you get fit into something from the TSR line, because it is that good. But yeah, TSR driver would be great. And when you say brand agnostic, like PGA Tour Superstore, you guys carry a lot of brands. Like, I've been on the website and stuff. Unfortunately, there's not a location near me in Detroit yet, so I haven't been able to go into a physical location, but I have been on the website plenty of times. You guys do carry quite a few. There's not too many brands. Other than maybe some little boutique stuff that you guys don't have available to try and to get fit for and to buy, right? There's not too much out there that you guys are missing.
Yeah, I don't think so. And even as you mentioned with the boutique stuff, we always try to be mindful of what's out in the marketplace, and we'll add. We do a lot of testing, as any good retailer does, I think. And there's been plenty of brands that we've brought on over the years that started as you said, a small boutique idea, and then grew into something really big. And that's what we feel like our responsibility is to our customer, to go and find the latest and the coolest. And sometimes that's in a brand that somebody may not be aware of, but we find a cool product and we put it in, and if our customer responds to it, then we feel like it's our job to to keep adding and always looking for what's next.
And I think to speak of that, it's an easy transition over to, on kind of the holiday list that we have, the Lab Golf is not a household name. There's a lot of bigger putter brands. And I was actually kind of shocked to find out that you guys do fit for Lab putters. They've got 2 new ones out that kind of came out this year, the Mez 1 and the Mez 1 Max. I've actually been fortunate enough to play both, and it's a different style of putter. They call it lie angle balance, so the face stays parallel to your target the whole time through the stroke. But very interesting that you guys do putter fittings for Lab. So, I know it's kind of an up-and-coming brand, and people are starting to learn more. But I've always seen in our forums people asking about where they can try them, where they can get fit, where they, because they're not a brand like an Odyssey that is in every single store that they, any place. But you guys do offer Lab golf putters, and you guys fit for them, which is pretty cool, because, that opens the doors for a lot of golfers to be able to come in and try those.
Yeah, no, that's right. And I think that's a brand, as you were referencing earlier, that's not, it's not available everywhere. And this is us recognizing, the virtues of the product, everything you just talked about, and try to make it available, to our customers, even though not everyone's aware of it. As it relates to the fitting component, we offer Sam Putt Lab fitting, which is kind of the industry standard for providing a really quality putter fitting in the store. In some of our stores, we actually do it in our studio. In others, we do it out on the putting green. But either way, it's an opportunity for a player to get really dialed in based upon their stroke and what they're looking for, whether it's a mallet or a blade. So much of putting is tied to feel, which is a critical piece. But the great thing about Sam Putt Lab is it kind of takes the metrics of your putt and helps us to help you maximize what you're getting out of each putting stroke.
Yeah, and like I said, it's kind of cool. I think a lot of people, when you think of a larger retailer like a PGA Tour Superstore, like you don't necessarily think of some of these smaller brands, and it is very cool to see that you guys have realized that these things are out there and add them, and people are able to go and try them and get fit, because if they didn't have that, they may still maybe be searching or looking or, just kind of making that purchase without really being able to get fit and getting the putter that's right for them. And, a lot of these putters, like a lab putter, they're not cheap. They're a good investment, and being able to get fit for it and know that it's, built for your stroke and your height, everything. I mean, all that is pretty big. So that is pretty cool to see that you guys have them, as one of your brands carrying, because that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And as you said, a lot of golf equipment, it's not inexpensive, right?
Yep.
And so I think that's why we believe so much in the process of fitting, because ultimately, if you've come through and we've helped you to kind of get locked in on what's going to help you enjoy the game more and play your very best golf, then I think you feel a little bit more comfortable about spending that kind of money. If you walk out and you're a little shaky on, was this the best for me? Then we didn't do our job, and we aspire to make sure that people are pleasantly delighted when they leave the store based on the experience they had.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's like I said. I mean, anybody who always asks me, I'm always like, if you're going to go spend the money, if you're going to go kind of invest in some new equipment for your game, like, you owe it to yourself to get fit. I mean, you really do. I mean, for what's offered out there and how many places you can get fit and all that, like it's available. You should go do it. So, the days of just walking into a store, throwing your $500 down and walking out with the driver and just saying, hey, I play a 9.5 stiff or whatever you play. I think those days are starting to kind of fade away a little bit, which is a good thing, because I think people are going to see more benefit, from that purchase. And like you said, be happier from it for a little longer period of time. And then outside of clubs, I mean, one of the biggest ones, and I always get asked kind of about this product, but I think it's one of those just, it's a great gift in terms of holidays, is laser rangefinders. It seems like everybody's left one in a cart. Everybody's, had one where they've left it in a cart, left, and unfortunately never got it back. They've had different models, but something like, the Bushnell Pro X3, there's a ton of rangefinders, but you guys, I mean, in terms of rangefinders, that must be just an absolute huge thing that kind of moves out of the store, because, like I said, people like me who leave them stuck to the cart now with the magnets and all that, I've unfortunately gone through a few myself. But other people are just, looking to maybe jump into that realm as well. But, from laser rangefinders, what do you guys see on the retail side in terms of, what's kind of popular? What are some features that people are really liking?
Yeah, well, it's as you said, that category of goods, whether it's rangefinders or, some people prefer GPS, either one, those are throughout the year big sellers, but they definitely have a kind of what I'll call a crescendo moment. They spike during the holidays because they are such a great gift, and it's not really something that somebody has to be fit into per se. If you give a golf club, there's a fitting component that goes with that, and I think that's why some people are a little skittish on giving it as a gift, only in the sense that the person I care about would prefer to get fit into it or whatever. But with rangefinders, that's a different story. As it relates to the top brands or the top items, Bushnell has been for many, many years kind of the industry standard, the industry leader. That X3 that you were referencing is kind of their more aspirational piece. You were asking about what features and benefits are critical in rangefinders, and strangely one of the the things that most of these suppliers have added here in the more recent years is something as simple as putting a magnet on the rangefinder, just so that, as you're riding in a golf cart, you can stick it to the post right there next to you, and it's just an easy grab when you pull up to your ball or when you walk up to your ball. If you're walking, a lot of the rangefinders have a slope component. Some people are purists and they don't want to engage with that. I feel like I need every advantage I can get, so I usually keep mine in slope mode, so to speak. But that really helps, when you're playing on a course where you have a lot of up or down in your shot. That's really a helpful feature. And really, there's just all sorts of price points in that stuff. We happen to be selling a product this holiday that I'm pretty excited about. There's a brand that we added a couple of years ago called Blue Tees, and they've really become a pretty big part of our business. They've got some really cool looks. They have different colors that they come out with. They've got something that we're selling this year called a player pack, which I think is going to be a great gift. It's a rangefinder, a speaker, and then it has a little magnet mount. So if you wanted to, for example, clip it onto your bag, you can stick your rangefinder on and off of that magnet, making it real easy to use. And it comes with a little divot repair tool. All that for $3.99. So that's going to be a really good price point, I think, for people to give as a gift. And again, it's called the Blue Tees player pack.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And then, on the GPS side, 'cause I've always been kind of a laser rangefinder guy. I've dabbled with a few different GPSs just, through this podcast, just trying them and things like that. But in terms of GPS, what do you see as kind of some of the, what's one that stands out? Because like I said, that's one that I'm just not as familiar with, that whole kind of arena. If there's one that kind of sticks out to you, what would that be?
Well, GPS, there's a couple of different formats. There's more of a what I'd call a mounted format, whereby you just you have like a small screen that you can, either carry on your bag or put it up on the cart. Most of those will have magnets on them as well. What seems to be more popular with most customers, though, is actually a GPS watch, which would give you a lot of the same functions as any sort of a fitness watch, but then it's also giving you all the GPS features. And again, we've got price ranges there anywhere from a couple $100 all the way up to over $2,000. We actually carry a product from Tag Heuer, which is one of the premier watchmakers in the world. They've got a really cool GPS watch that they make that we sell. It's actually used by Tommy Fleetwood. He's kind of the spokesperson for that product. But our market share leader in GPS is by far and away Garmin. That's kind of what they do, right? They're in the world of GPS, and a lot of features and benefits built into those products. It ultimately depends on what you're looking for and how much you want to spend.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that Tag Heuer one is I actually reviewed that on this show. I think it was last year. They sent me one. I was able to use it. I had to send it back because, the price point. That wasn't one that I got to keep. But I do have to say, the one thing about that watch, the most comfortable band of any watch that I've ever worn. It wasn't too tight. It wasn't too loose, but it stayed right in place. It was like a really supple rubber. It was really unique, but man, it was the most comfortable GPS watch I've ever put on my wrist.
Yeah, I think the person that's going to use that watch certainly understands the quality of anything that Tag Heuer makes. They're a watch geek, so to speak.
Yep.
But we find that a lot of people who buy those watches will buy multiple bands. That's a person that tends to be a little bit more fashion forward. And if they've got on a bright yellow shirt, they might actually have their band of their watch match up with their shirt. They're definitely a fashion forward person for sure.
Yeah, no, like I said, that was the one thing that I still remember about that. The functions and everything were great, but that was the one thing that just stood out to that watch. And I was like, man, I don't typically wear a watch when I play. I'm a very big watch guy. I love watches, but I don't usually use one when I play. But that one, I was just like, man, I could wear this. So it's really nice. So yeah, I've been fortunate for that. That one I have messed with. And like you said, fashion. another one that's a little sometimes easier for people to buy because there's no fitting required, there's no anything. Clothing has come a long way in golf. I mean, like I said, I remember working in a shop in early 2000s, and it was kind of like, we've got red polos, we got blue polos, we got white, here's your colors, and there wasn't a whole lot there. It was just that, and it was like kind of khaki pants, black pants, or blue pants. Like that was kind of what you had, and now it is unbelievable in terms of the style. I mean, whatever style you have, there is some golf clothing to match. The technology's crazy. But what are people kind of buying now? Like, is this kind of a shift where people are buying, in stores? I know you guys are, all over the country. So there's parts of the country that are kind of winding down on golf. Still part of the country that's playing a lot of golf. Are we seeing kind of a trend towards more outerwear and layered pieces? Or are we still seeing a lot of just polos, pants, and shorts going out the door? What kind of, is there a shift at this time of year?
Oh, there's definitely a shift that takes place at this time of the year. As markets or places are getting colder. We're selling a lot more outerwear at this time of the year. We'll sell a lot more pants at this time of the year. But the thing of it is, especially with golf pants, I think back when I first started my career, when I first got started, I had to wear a tie to work every day. So as time has passed over these last several years, what I would call a more casual, look is accepted in a lot of workplaces today, especially with a little bit of a golf, feel to it.
Yep.
I mean, I've got plenty of friends who don't really play golf, but wear a lot of golf type of apparel just because it's very functional. With a lot of the dry fit type fabrics that are out there, they're comfortable. They're definitely, more form fitting. And I think, one of the cool things that's going on with golf right now is there's just such a fitness element to it. You see a lot of people who are walking and using golf as a way to either get fit or stay fit. So when it comes to apparel, you've just got some really cool looks. I mean, whether it's pants, polos, quarter zips, jackets. I mean, gosh, even today, hoodies are acceptable out on the golf course now, right? Who would have ever thought that? But here we are. And again, like I said earlier, we try to stay on the cutting edge of a lot of that stuff, and offer either items or even new brands that are, people are just starting to think about. We try to make sure we're ahead of the curve on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, is there a brand that you like that you're kind of excited about? I mean, I same thing. I mean, I know when I'm on Instagram or I'm on social media, I follow so many golf accounts and all that, and a lot of the suggested stuff is golf related, and a lot of it I maybe even haven't seen, or maybe I have. But I know there's a lot of kind of smaller brands out there that are kind of up and coming and have some really cool stuff. Like, I go to the PGA show most years, and you get to walk around and you see some of these, and you meet some of the people who are involved with them, and it's pretty cool to hear their stories. Is there a little, a brand that you're kind of excited to kind of watch and see what it does this holiday season?
For sure. There's definitely some of those. I mean, we have great relationships with a lot of the bigger brands. I mean, whether it's Nike or Adidas or Travis Mathew or Puma, those are tried and true brands that continue to make great products that are accepted by the public, and you certainly see them on the professional tours for both men and women. With that said, there's several brands that are kind of up and coming. We've been doing a really nice business, for example, with Chubbies for the last couple of years. Gavin Green's a great brand for us. Peter Millar continues to become more and more popular in golf circles. I mean, there's a lot of choices when it comes to golf apparel for both men and women. That's the one thing I would add too is in some of our markets, I mean, we sell more women's golf apparel than we do men's golf apparel.
Wow.
And that's not something you would expect to hear. But a lot of people are coming into our store to buy apparel, whether they actually play golf or not.
Yeah. Well, and I think more women seem to be, enjoying the game. And I feel like I said, when I worked at a shop 20 years ago, almost, maybe a little less than that, the women who played there was some hardcore, they played every day. They were in a club or whatever. And I think there's a lot more women who are playing the game for whatever reason, whether it's they just love the game, whether it's, to be with friends, the social side, whatever. I mean, I have a sister-in-law who I didn't think I was ever see really play golf, and she joined a league, last year. So just
Absolutely.
to, hang out with her friends, and she's had a blast, and she's excited to do it next year. So I think there's a lot of people, women, once they kind of try, they get the itch, and then it's just like, like us men, we go out there and buy tons of stuff. They're going out there getting new clubs, clothes, whatever it is, you got to get the new stuff. So that's pretty cool to hear. And, I think the women's game definitely has a lot of room to grow, and it's good to see that's happening, and, at a lot of stores.
For sure. I think, we love, we really love that. One of our core values as an organization is to include everyone. And I think one of the really neat things that I've seen over the last, couple of years is that the game of golf, which right or wrong has always had a bit of a moniker on it as being a bit exclusive.
Yeah.
I see some of those barriers coming down, and, welcoming people of all backgrounds. And I love the fact that, like when I'm out on the golf course, I see a lot of women, and sometimes it's a husband and wife playing together. Sometimes it's a group of ladies playing together that, they may have a money game going, or they may be just out there, socially. Either way, I just think it's great to see, lots and lots of people out on the golf course, no matter where they are on their golfing journey.
Yeah. Oh no, it is. It's kind of cool, and I think like you said, that we're the hoodies now and things like that. And I think as people see the stuff more and it becomes more accepted, and you can find these things in your your golf shops. If you go to a PGA TOUR Superstore, there's all these latest items and all that. It's just going to become more accepted. I mean, yes, it wasn't that long ago where it was pretty much khaki pants and a polo shirt, and that was it. And that's just what you played golf in. That's shifting, and I think the people who expect that are starting to realize that there's a lot more options out there, and there's a lot of people who are truly love the game, who want to express themselves through a shirt or pants or a new bag or whatever it is to have their colors or college colors or team colors or whatever it is. So those options.
It's so true, and one of the things I'm sure you want to talk about is footwear, and I even see it with footwear. I mean, with the growth of the spikeless golf category, I see people wearing shoes in the office that they also wear on the golf course. These spikeless golf shoes. That's been one of the coolest things. I know I do that. I've got shoes that I wear sort of to both areas. A, because they are functional on the golf course, but B, they look really cool, and you can definitely pass them off for more casual wear.
Yeah, and that's an interesting category, because shoes is, I mean, now we're seeing stuff from, the athletic companies now. I mean, you're seeing Adidas with the Samba, reissue, that they're doing all these different special editions, colors, all the Jordan releases that have been, I mean, you can barely get your hands on them. I mean, there's so many of these kind of lifestyle sport brands that are jumping into golf, and the young golfers are just absolutely loving it. But in terms of spikeless to spiked, like my dad and I have very different views. My dad is like the old school, needs spikes, I don't want to slip. I'm kind of like, I love spikeless. They're so comfortable, whatever. Have you guys seen, like, is there one style shoe that tends to kind of outperform the other? Or are they still pretty kind of 50-50 depending on, is it pretty equal?
Well, I think your dad should meet my dad, because I think my dad's still upset that he's not able to wear metal spikes in his shoes,
Yeah. Crunch his way down the cart path. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's right. Yep. No, I think this trend from spiked to spikeless continues, depending on the model or the month or the time of the year. I mean, I'd say at this point, spikeless represents probably about 2/3 of the overall sales at this point. I mean, it's gotten to that point. And, on top of that, you're starting to see a lot more of the, what I'll call kind of more athletic looks.
Yep.
It's kind of like what I was referencing earlier, looks that not only will work on the golf course, but also you could pass off as more casual wear. You touched on, quite a bit of it already with some of the key launches, whether it's Sambas, whether it's Jordans. We do a lot of special collections with different suppliers that are kind of special makeups for us. We do a really nice business, for example, with G4.
Yeah.
And we've got a collection that we've done with them. It's sort of a collaboration between G4 and Barstool.
Yep.
One's like a patriotic type delivery, and then one of them's actually modeled after the transfusion drink.
Yep.
So I think this is just all part of golf not taking itself too seriously and enjoying itself a little bit more, and allowing people from different backgrounds to come in and just enjoy it for being the cool activity that it is.
Well, and there's something to be said. I mean, I love the old the old FootJoy classics, the icons, whatever, the couple versions they've gone through. I've got a pair, but I do tell you what, like the athletic shoes out there, I mean, they are definitely a little lighter, a little easier to walk, 18 in. I mean, it is just a different shoe. And I think, like you said, having the ability to do some kind of cool collabs, some really exciting colors and stuff like that, that's what some people want to do. There's not a lot of golfers out there anymore who just want a white or black pair of shoes and that's it, or a brown saddle and that's it. There's a lot of options, and there's a lot of demand for a lot of options, which is pretty cool.
There absolutely are, and I'm sure you're probably like me. I've got some that definitely err more on the athletic side, and I've got some tried and true models as well. I mean, I like you. I'm a big FootJoy fan as well, and they've got this collection of shoes with their BOA technology, which is one of those dialing technologies. Yep. Boy, when I put my foot into one of those and then tighten it up, you just feel the whole shoe kind of grab your foot, and it just gives you a real sense of security, and like no matter what shot I hit or where I'm walking, this shoe is going to support my needs. Yeah,
it was funny because it was when I worked at a shop. I remember BOA came out and I tried it on, and for whatever reason, the couple models I tried on, I always felt like my heel was always slipping. I never liked it, and then I got a pair this year. It was part of media sample came in, and it was BOA, and I was kind of like, I mean, all right, I'll try it on, whatever, whatever. I had no hopes. And it is honestly one of the more comfortable shoes that I have in my little rack of shoes that are over to my left over here. And I really enjoy them. So whatever, maybe it was just the last on the shoe I was trying years ago, but I kind of wrote it off. And then this year got a pair and have really enjoyed wearing them. And I'm wearing them more than I thought I would. So they are really comfortable. So the BOA system, like you said, if you are not familiar with it, it's a little round disc and there's steel cables instead of laces, and you just tighten it down, and it doesn't. It kind of has a uniform tightness over your foot. But like I said, pair of shoes that I really enjoyed, and didn't really have a high bar set for them, and they ended up kind of being one of my favorites.
Yeah, same for me.
So, and then, kind of in terms of, I know it's not the last topic for holiday, but another holiday thing that's really interesting is kind of the stocking stuffer stuff. What out there is kind of cool that people can kind of look at that it isn't, you're not buying a club, you're not buying, $100 pair of shoes, but something that's kind of that $50 to $25 range, maybe a little under. There's some kind of hot things that you guys have kind of thoughts that are really going to move this year, or good ideas that people can kind of, toss in a little stocking, and it's an inexpensive way to say, hey, you know what, I know you love the game, here's something, that you'd enjoy.
Yeah. Well, as you said, I think our job is to curate assortments to cover a lot of different budgets and price points. I mean, I personally love it when somebody walks into the store and they've got several golfers on their list, and I'm willing to spend $500 for Dad, and I'm willing to spend $100 on Uncle Jim, but Uncle Steve, my budget's $25. Whatever it is. And yep. We've got a lot of things that cover those price points. As it relates to stocking stuffers, I would tend to point people over more towards the accessories area. We sell, so many different kinds of head covers, whether it's hey, I'm a fan of this particular team, or I've got somebody in my life who's a military veteran. We sell Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, head covers, towels, those kinds of things. Those are always great. Stocking stuffers. One brand that we're bringing in that's hitting stores right now that I'm personally really excited about is from a company called Pins and Aces.
Oh, yeah.
And they focus on head covers, divot repair tools. My favorite item that we're bringing in of theirs from a divot repair tool standpoint is they've got a divot repair tool that looks like a Ritz cracker. That it was modeled and designed after the Ritz cracker that was used in Happy Gilmore. If you remember his caddy, what he used. I just think that's such a clever thing to have, and the quality of their products is amazing. So, we'll be selling that and a lot of other types of things in the store. And, if worse comes to worse and you can't quite figure out what to get, we always sell gift cards. And
That's right.
we even sell the little tins that you put them in, and those are always great stocking stuffers as well.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That like you said, a lot of the accessories and the head cover stuff like that have included so much kind of pop culture into it, and it's stuff that when you're out on the course and either you put it down or you see somebody use it, you just kind of chuckle and you kind of know where it came from, and yeah, it kind of makes your day a little more fun seeing some of that stuff. And
yeah, I kind of joke with my friends. Again, as I said earlier, when I started my career, I was wearing a tie, and that tended to be the one area where you could kind of put your personality out there a little bit, was with your tie, but everybody, wore a dark suit or whatever. Today on the golf course, I think that, head covers is really the place to be able to sort of express your personality a little bit.
Yep.
And, I'm really glad that there's lots and lots of options out there now.
Oh, there are. There are an absolute ton. And like you said, you can kind of commemorate a theme, military service, anything pretty much. I mean, if there's something you're kind of into, there's probably a head cover for it that you can kind of show, this is what I'm either a fan of or part of or something you love. It's out there, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So holidays, are going to be a great thing. The other side, something that's interesting in terms of, it could be a gift. It could be a gift to yourself, whatever. The side, and when it gets to holidays up here in the north, I'm unfortunately in Michigan, we think about this a lot, but you get into kind of the launch monitor simulation type stuff. And, well, the price point may not always be maybe gift ready. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It is a very interesting segment of golf that has grown. Just in like I said, the 6 years I've been part of Golf Direct, and the explosion of what's been available at different price points in the simulation / kind of launch monitor type scene has been unbelievable. And then you guys started kind of getting a little more into that, right? Like you guys can actually offer a little more, or more items when it comes to simulation than ever before. But what have you guys kind of started doing on the simulation side in terms of packages and offerings?
Yeah, this is I kind of view this a little bit as the next frontier, so to speak, because it's still very much in its infancy, as a lot of suppliers have been investing in a lot of really great technology, and at this point we really kind of cover the gamut in terms of price point and simulators or launch monitors. Those names are a bit interchangeable, but we'll start for $300-400 for a pretty basic item that you can take out to the range with you that gives you some some good feedback on swing speeds and even the shape of your shots, all the way to selling $25,000 to $50,000 in-home simulator packages, and kind of everything in between. A lot of great brand names getting involved in it. We were talking about Garmin earlier with GPS. We've had an item we've carried with them since the summer called the R10. It's a $600 price point. It's a really good item, very portable, that you can take with you either out on the range or you can use it indoor if you want to hit into a net. There's a lot of kind of simulation that comes along with a lot of these items. Even if you're hitting into a net, you can actually still sort of play a round of golf. The advancements that have been made in some of this stuff are really pretty amazing. One that we've just started carrying recently is an item that Tiger Woods actually has some involvement with called from Full Swing. It's their launch monitor. Yep. We're selling those for just under $5,000. These things, they're certainly not, like a pack of gum or whatever where you just pick it up. But a lot of people, especially as you said, people who are a little bit more homebound for several months out of the year, when as much as I'm sure you'd like to be out in January in Michigan playing golf, it's very likely that you may have snow on the ground, and that makes it a little difficult. So we found, more and more people, whether they do it in their garage, whether they do it in their basement, an extra room in their house, whatever, wanting to invest in this technology where they can play golf year-round, either inside or, taking a lot of these things outside with them out on the golf course to to track all of the shots that they make. I think everybody's looking for that extra advantage to, analyze ball speed, shot shape, club head speed, face angle. All of these products, to one extent or the other, give you that kind of feedback. And again, our objective is to help people enjoy the game more and play better golf, and these products help you do that.
Yeah, and I think also the other cool thing is, like you said, kind of the packages where you can buy a whole at home, set it up, and I know a lot of people, especially in the Golf WX forums, people always ask, what mat should I get, what screen should I get, whatever, all those things that people are trying to figure out what they need to get and what's what works with what and the compatibility, and to be able to kind of go to you guys and say, here's my budget, and you guys have an all kind of in one, potentially have an all-in-one solution that says, hey, this has everything you need, just install it and go. I think also takes a lot of that research out of it, because I think a lot of people have the space in the garage or the extra bedroom or wherever they can put it. They just don't want to sit there for weeks on end doing research about what items need to go in there and whatever. And if you guys have kind of that, here's simulator, here's a package, boom, it's done. You don't have to think about it. It's it. Here you go. It ships to your house, or you go pick it up. I think that's huge too, because it does cause people a lot of stress to try to figure it all out.
It really does, yeah. And I think the two primary components are budget and space. Those are the two big ones. And I'd like to say that we've got solutions really from beginning to end, depending upon those two factors.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased that we're able to offer so many different options. In that category. We're going to continue to add more and more as things become available.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, they go up to $50,000, whatever, and understandably, that is out of the price range of a lot of people. But like you said, I mean, there's a lot of options, that may not be the full what you see online, and the built-in bar and the whole basement built up. Like, yes, you may not be able to get that, but for something that lets you enjoy the game, work on your game, get some swings in, whatever, play rounds, whatever your need is, there's probably something at your budget that will, be more than what you expect. And like you said, the technology, especially on the software side for a lot of this stuff in terms of how accurate the data is and all that, I mean, it just continues to grow. And I've been fortunate enough, I've been using the Full Swing kit for a little while now. I've had one for quite a bit. And with some of the latest software updates, the accuracy and all that has been, I mean, it's matched, if not maybe even slightly exceeded some of the really expensive, kind of considered high-end but more expensive monitors out there. And like I said, for that right around $5,000, it's a really good unit, and it does fit in a golf bag. I have one. It does fit in it takes up the whole big pocket, but it does fit in the golf bag.
It makes it a little bit heavier, but again, some people want to take that out with them, and they'll set it down either on the range while they're hitting some shots, or some people will even take it on the course and put it behind them every shot that they hit. What I think is cool too about some of these products is, and I'm probably dating myself. I'm a little bit older. I didn't grow up in the era where you could literally be playing gaming at home and be playing with a friend of yours who lives in another country. But a lot of people today kind of grew up with that mindset, and you're able to use a lot of these types of products to do that very thing. If you want to play a round of golf at your favorite golf course in virtual land, and your buddy lives in Australia, you guys can play at the same time. And I just think that brings us all closer together and helps us, enjoy this game we love, no matter if it's beautiful outside or if there's 3 feet of snow on the ground.
Yeah, don't say the S word yet. It's not out there yet. So I'm holding off. But and to play some courses that you may never have the opportunity to ever play. There's some extremely prestigious courses on some of these simulator softwares that are ones that, they'd be a bucket list to go play. You could play it every day in a sense, it may not be exactly the same, but it's still pretty cool to go play some pretty iconic golf courses. And then, the other topic that I think is really interesting is, earlier in the week we talked about it is the fitting side. And, PGA Tour Superstore has done, I would assume you have fitting at basically every location and then you also have some studio fitting. Explain a little bit what the studio side, because I think that was something I wasn't even as familiar with when you mentioned it earlier in the week when we kind of talked.
Sure, yeah. So to answer your first question, we do have fitting capabilities in every store. Most of our stores tend to have what I'll call a branded fitting experience. So you'll imagine walking into the store and there's a Titleist bay, and there's a Callaway bay, and a TaylorMade bay, and a Ping bay. And we tend to fit for specific brands in certain bays only because that's where we have all their fitting components.
Yep.
But as time has passed, we have found that a lot of folks want what I'll call a more enhanced experience, something that's maybe a little bit more private, an opportunity to have a deeper conversation, have more options available to you. So our studio concept was born a couple of years ago. I think we're about 3 years into studio now. And we actually have in our stores, we have it in more than half of them now. And around the first quarter of next year, every one of our 58 stores will have a studio in it.
Wow.
And it's behind glass. We use TrackMan and Foresight technology in both in the simulators or in the studios, because we want customers to have access to all of the technology that's out there. Some people have a preference. I prefer TrackMan. I prefer Foresight. Well, we give you both in our studios. Our fitters are trained. We have a performance training studio here, actually, at our store support center, where we bring all of our fitters in and train them on all the software that's out there. We have a lot of enhanced shaft and head matrix options that don't exist in our regular fitting bays. What I'll kind of call some of the shafts that are out there that help you turbocharge your game a little bit. We've got over 40,000 options available to consumers in these studios. As I mentioned to you earlier, one of our basic philosophies about fitting is we're brand agnostic. We think people should be fit because they get put into products that are best for their game. You and I may shoot similar scores, but we may have very different needs in terms of how we swing and how fast we swing, etc. So it's important that customers go through that experience to get put into the best products possible. But ultimately, we're gonna have a conversation with somebody who walks in that wants to be fit. We ask them what they're interested in. We ask them a little bit about their game, even if they're just starting. We put them on, put them in the studio, and we let the numbers kind of do some of the talking, and we let the numbers sort of direct the conversation, whether it's a Cobra this or a Mizuno that or a Ping this or a Titleist that. It doesn't really matter to us, because ultimately we want the person to be happy, and we want them to be put into the product that works for them the best. And sometimes, by the way, I would add this, that especially for newer players, some people, they hear the buzzword, I want to come in and be fit, which is great. But if they're just starting their golfing journey, they may have some difficulty even putting a consistent swing on the ball. And while we can fit them, we sometimes surmise that maybe having a few lessons to help them get a little bit more consistent swing path and hitting the ball more consistently is the right first step for them. And so our folks are trained to have kind of a dignified conversation about that, to say, hey, you might really benefit from a couple of lessons, of which we provide. We have instructors in every store. And we really try to create a blueprint for every consumer that walks in based on where they're at in their journey and what they're hoping to accomplish. Whether it's lessons, whether it's a fitting, whether it's a combination of both. We really just try to meet a player where they're at and do the best we can to provide their needs to benefit their game.
Yeah, and with that fitting, you guys are doing, it's not just drivers or woods or whatever. You guys are basically able to do full bag fitting, whether you just want to go in and get fit for the new driver, whether you're revamping the whole bag and, everything's going, or just redoing it all. You even do kind of the full bag from driver down to putter and make sure that everything that goes in there is kind of optimized to that player.
Yeah, we do, and we even offer ball fitting. Kind of like what I was talking about earlier with looking for new brands, and always being mindful of what's next and what's coming out there. We do the same thing on technology as well. We're experimenting right now with wedge fitting software that Titleist is behind. We're doing a lot of stuff with ball fitting. So again, we just want to have as much information available as possible to answer any and all questions that players have.
Yeah, and the short game thing is something that's starting to now, it looks like people are starting to now kind of realize more and more that, maybe I shouldn't just go buy that putter right off the rack and, it's this color or this shape and boom, that's it. Like, maybe I should go get fit and see what does work. And, the lengths are different lies, all that loft makes a big impact. But like you said, wedges are another one that there's starting to be some real advancement in the fitting side. And a lot of times people would skip the fitting because, it's indoors. So it's not going to work. Well, like you said, there's some stuff being done out there that is pretty interesting when it comes to wedges, especially that can really, help you dial into what is the best wedge set, the right grind, loft, all that. And you don't have to just buy a 56 degree, walk into the course and hope it works, or just kind of say, well, I'm typically this, so I'll buy it. So those type of things I think will really help a lot of people improve. Because how many shots are on the green, dude? I mean, yes, you hit 14 drives or whatever you hit, per round. But how many times are you, knocking it out of a bunker? You're hitting a wedge far more, it seems like, than you're hitting a driver. So those clubs are, and a putter, it's the most used club in the bag. So getting fit for those pieces is becoming significantly more important and significantly more valuable, I think.
There's no question about it. And one of the things that we're really trying to lean into right now, and we're kind of following Titleist's lead here, and I mentioned them. They're the market share leader in wedges. They've been doing a lot of study over the last several years and are actually starting to communicate out some information about how often someone should replace their wedges, just based upon how grinds get worn down over time. And I would encourage your listeners to explore that a little bit. I have been very surprised on how many rounds you get in before you start getting to the point of diminishing returns with your wedges, where you don't get that stopping power quite as much because the face is wearing down a little bit. It's not gripping quite as well, and you start to experience some rollout on shots that you used to either stop or even pull back to you a little bit. And replacing wedges more frequently does have an impact on your game. I mean, again, Titleist has done some research on it, and they can even show you as time passes what that does to your score. So maybe that's something that you have your listeners explore a little bit as they're doing research on their own game.
Yeah, no, it is something that it is interesting. I mean, I'm unfortunately in that case where I think I play the same 14 clubs maybe twice a year. So I don't wear out wedges too often because I'm usually testing something new. But you're 100% right, and conditions make a huge factor on that too. If you play kind of in the Southwest and it's really sandy kind of I mean, that's going to wear out a wedge faster than up here in the North where it's real soft and we don't have. I mean, there's really you don't have sandy fairways or anything like that. So those wear patterns are going to be different too for how much somebody practices, as opposed to somebody who doesn't. And, there's a lot of factors, but you're right. I mean, the wedge technology and the amount of thought and tech and all that going into wedges and all that is vastly improving and rapidly improving.
Yeah. And all of these suppliers, I mean, the cool thing is, whether this brand is your preference or this brand is your preference, God, these club suppliers, they make really good stuff. They really do. I mean, the engineering that goes into this and their commitment to building quality products, I just continue to be amazed, especially, when there's some performance limitations as dictated by the USGA, RNA, whatever it happens to be, how these folks can, design stuff that's acceptable and legal, but boy, does it deliver performance. I mean, we're fortunate to have some suppliers out there that really know what the heck they're doing.
It's unbelievable. I mean, we're a company that's on social media a lot, and it's funny that a new club will pop up and somebody will say, they'll see a comment that somebody will say, oh, everything's been maxed out. There's nothing they can do. And it's like, no, it's not necessarily true. There's a lot of tricks up a lot of sleeves over there. And if you've ever had been fortunate enough to meet some of the engineers from these companies, they are hell bent on making better products every year, and they are chasing down new tech and new technology and manufacturing. I mean, it's amazing to see the passion that these companies truly have for making better equipment. And yeah, they're far from done. Things are not just done. Like, there's limits set, but they're definitely finding ways around it. So I know we've been going a while. The last thing I'm going to ask you, because I just always find it interesting, and you are a gentleman who probably has access to a lot of different golf clubs, being in the working for PGA TOUR Superstore. A quick rundown: what do you play? What's in your bag? What do you typically play when you go out?
Well, I have to be careful on how I answer this, because I do business with all these major suppliers.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
and like I said, they all make great stuff.
Yep.
So, how about this? I'll tell you what I played with this last weekend. I just put a new stealth driver in my bag. I had tested that out when they first came out back earlier in the year, and saw favorable results, but I had not yet played with it out on the golf course. And man, did I get some serious distance gains with that product out there. But whether it's that, I mentioned Titleist wedges earlier. I love those. I love the new SM9 wedges. That's another new product that I've just started hitting. You really kind of put me in a tough spot here, buddy, because as sure as this gets published out there, I'm going to be getting phone calls on why didn't you mention my this or my that. But
I'm in the same boat. I know how it is.
But I do actually try to use products from everybody.
Yep.
If for no other reason than to make sure I'm well informed on what our customers are ultimately being fit into. I mean, this year I have played T300 irons. I've played Apex irons. I've played P790s. I've played all the comparable, metal woods that go with that. I've played Wilson Staff golf balls. I've played Pro V1 Left Dash, Chrome Soft. I mean, you name it. I'm very blessed, I should say, to be able to have a chance to play all of it. And that's why I can confidently say that there are really a lot of great products out there.
Yep.
And whatever a person feels like they want to try or whatever, we've probably got it, and we'll help you get fit into it if it's best for your game.
Hey, like I said, I know the feeling.
How's that for a PC answer?
Exactly. I want to say I was just out hitting the new i230s yesterday afternoon, so I know how it is. There's always something new that you got to try. So, like I said, I've played the past 2 years. I think I've played the same bag, shafts and heads. The same 14 clubs, shafts, maybe twice each year. So I mean, I just never. There's always something different in the bag. So, but I'm with you. I know how it is. Everybody's going, "Oh, wait a minute, didn't you try this?" You're like, "Oh, well, yeah, I did. It's not bad. It's just." I got other things in the bag too. So,
yep.
But Rodney, really appreciate the time, man. It was awesome, awesome talking to you. Also getting some insight on kind of the hot news, the hot stuff that's going on and selling at the PGA Tour Superstore. If you don't have one near you, like me, what is the official actual website? Because I don't want to mess it up. What is the actual website to go online? Because they ship all over, so you can get whatever you need directly from them.
Yeah, well, we do have 58 stores, or will have 58 stores. We've got a couple more we're about to open around the country. But if there's not one close by you, or even if there is one close by you and you prefer to shop online, it's www.pgasuperstore.com.
Awesome. So, well, again, thank you very much for the time. Appreciate all the insight, all the info. It was great hanging out, chatting, and yeah, I mean, get your holiday shopping started because it is going to be December faster than you know it. So thanks again, Rodney. Have a great, appreciate the time again, and really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, Brian. Good to talk to you. Have a great holiday.